there's just been a lot of real bad movies.
Yeah. Well, welcome to this. So.
And welcome to Rabbit
Running
Troop
Man's
Sucks.
not a bad movie.
So we're in it. So you're saying Running Man is not, the Running Man is not a bad movie?
It is not.
No, this is a great movie.
Well, welcome back, Rabbit Troop Sucks listeners. Today we have two special guests. As always, I am Paul, and next to me is Mike.
Hello.
And next to Mike is Chris.
Hello.
Hi, Chris. Welcome back. Chris is here in person for the first time, so welcome back.
You may remember him from
Fortress.
Fortress, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When we discussed Christopher Lambeau's Christopher Lambert's balls.
His lamb balls.
His lamb balls, yeah.
Wow. It's already got off to a good start. And first time we have Mario joining us. Hi, Mario.
Hi.
And today we're going to do The Running Man. Well, no one said anything.
No, yeah, but that's, no, you're right.
Is this-
That's accurate.
Now, I mean, this movie is amazing, obviously. How does this fit into your mission statement of
as we are
overlooked and obscure movies?
Oh, yes, as we are a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and overlooked films. Very good, Chris. Well, we actually just think a lot of people probably haven't seen this film. This is almost going to be my argument for a lot of the films that we do. That, yeah, we, as our generation, holy God, we've seen this. I talked to Mario on the side. Mario's like, oh my God, I totally love this movie. I was like, yes, that's why one of the reasons Mario's here today. But you ask someone I honestly think who's maybe like early 30s or anyone in their 20s, I think the big note would be...
It's not a Gen Z movie.
Yeah, but someone might be like, but I did read that Edgar Wright is doing the remake of The Running Man. And honestly...
Wait, is that accurate?
Is that true?
Is that happening?
That is on IMDb.
That's phenomenal.
And if
That sounds good, yeah.
if that's the director in charge of that, bravo to everyone. Like, that's great. Okay. So maybe people will hear about this more. I think the big poll will be, wrestling fans, game show fans, and Schwarzenegger fans. Clearly, I've heard of this. But
Schwarzenegger is this is prime Schwarzenegger.
It really is.
Yeah.
see, that's going to be my argument too, and I feel there's going to be different camps. Like, I think we're probably going to argue that this is prime Schwarzenegger. But I think for some people, they're going to be like, what about Conan? And I'm going to be like, that's not my prime Schwarzenegger. And then
that's proto Schwarzenegger.
and then after...
It is. That's true.
And then there's 92 Terminator? Judgment Day? Judgment Day?
Terminator 2? Yeah. Judgment Day.
Judgment Night.
Judgment Night was another movie we did.
That's Emilio Estevez.
Was it 92?
I think
that
so.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because then I would argue like that's like the pinnacle of Schwarzenegger. Like you've got it all in that film.
Well, I think that was like Schwarzenegger established. Like he was just
fair.
he was already an element. Running Man, I think he was also like the fresh sort of like hot property.
Yeah.
Where does Total
Commando?
Recall?
I think
Commando
Commando came out before,
Commando.
and Commando was a good movie.
And Total
I remember
Recall
loving
and
that
this
when I
movie,
was
yeah.
a kid.
I loved Commando.
Yeah, it was great.
I own a director's cut of Commando. I could not tell you what the director's cut portion is at all. It's like, honest to God, like director's cut plus 4 minutes.
More logs.
Well, hey, we got him pulling some metal in this one. Replaced the logs, and he's hauling around metal with that beard. In the,
Yeah.
in
Oh,
this
it's so
film.
good.
When they sent him to prison in like the steel mill from The Simpsons.
Yeah, let's go through this movie. Okay. So this movie is written by one and only Richard Bachman.
The Dickie Box.
So Stephen King. Hey, main fans.
Oh, did he write the movie?
He is the writer of the book.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Bachman is Stephen King, and we've got two people from Maine in this room, which is Mike and
Personal
Chris.
friends with Stephen King.
That's
Actually.
true.
That's great.
You know who did write the screenplay though?
No.
Steve D'Souza, Die Hard.
Well.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
It's an awesome screenplay.
It is, yeah.
It's a bunch of people having fun. So, according to IMDb, in a dystopian America, a falsely convicted policeman gets a shot at freedom when he must forcibly participate in a TV game show where convicts runners must battle killers for their freedom. Which I guess is overall true. There's some other things going on here a little bit.
I was sort of feeling that like
Jim Brown.
It takes place in 2017.
You don't remember this in 2017? This is 2017. This is daily for me and Mike.
And I think it's not inaccurate, but it is exaggerated. So I think like in 100 years, if somebody made a historic epic or period piece that was set in 2017, it's not implausible to think it would be like this. Because all the themes were present in actual 2017, just not quite there.
That's fair.
I think this is just Meow Wolf. If you haven't been to Meow Wolf, I think this is just like a metaphor for Meow Wolf. You just go there and people try to kill you, and everyone's really happy, and you win prizes. And
Some of the stuff, though, I agree, right? Like, some of the stuff is accurate, like the fake false media stuff,
Oh, yeah.
like using doctoring videos,
Oh, yeah,
right?
I mean,
and then
deep
there's
fake
the
and whatnot.
AI
Yeah, the
deep
deep
fake,
fake,
yeah, with the body in the end.
yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, all jokes aside, like, yeah, this movie has some ideas that really come to pass. Yeah, so Chris, do you want to talk about? You're part of a podcast. I'm going to say that is continuing. You want to tell us a little bit about that podcast? Because I'm going to reference it in a second.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's called Less Than or Sequel To, which is not really a very tight sort of restriction on it. Mostly we just do bad movies, Steven Seagal movies.
A lot of Steven Seagal.
A lot of them. We had a Seagal month, so we did a lot.
There are a lot of good Seagal movies, right?
There are.
The
There are,
early
yeah,
ones,
yeah.
especially, yes.
There are a lot of bad ones.
There's a lot of bad ones.
We did a mini series called Cerebros, where we went through the entire first season of the X-Men the Animated Series,
Nice.
and then sort of did some random shit.
Because I believe on one of your episodes, I think it was Back to the Future 2, I think you guys were discussing, what really held up, like, going through, like, and I think you guys were noting, the TVs on the walls, they're flat, or their projection, like, there were things that, like, really did hold
Yeah,
up.
widescreen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this, and I do think, there's political views that hold up, there's technology that holds up, and then there's very much the opposite that we'll see in this movie. Especially when it comes to vehicles.
Yes.
Yes,
Or like
that's for sure.
hot glued LEDs are a real feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wait. Oh, yeah. I was like, why do I have this note? One of my favorite things that came from this movie, there was like this huge hype of like dark sarcasm and dark sarcastic movies. This is one of the best parts of this movie by all means, especially when we start going through the characters. But 1990, Smash TV. Please tell me everyone in this room has played Smash TV.
Yeah, of
at some
course.
point.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah, I mean, Smash TV is an absolute brutal ripoff of this entire film in the most glorious way. You fight in rooms where you get VCRs and prizes, and a game show host taunts you, and it is a punishing video game where if you want to unlock things, you've got to do just amazing things and spend time to do it, which I did. As Mike, I noted, Lamar is not here today, but punishing video games is what we like.
Yeah, you guys like the most hateful, awful video games.
Yeah, I mean, then it's like, you just repeat plays out of spite.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think I can't do it again? I can 10 years later.
Fuck you, Shinobi. I'll fall down that well again.
You think I'm not taking anxiety pills because of this? Fine. I'll show you all. And, I mean, on top of this movie and this cast, we're going to go through some people I'm going to know more than others. We have people that also appear in overlapping films like Predator, like Good God, and we have Richard Dalton.
Predator and Predator 2. Actually, there's a Venn diagram.
Oh,
Of
really?
actors in this movie, yeah.
I like what I'm hearing. Or I'm sorry, Richard Dawson. I was like, not
Not Richard Dawkins.
Yeah. Richard Dawson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Family Feud, Match Game.
Absolutely amazing casting.
Yeah, Richard Dawson for me is just like the cherry on top. Like as we go through this movie, we often note like, oh, who did you like most? I'm just laughing because Mike and I were usually like, we like the dog. The dog was the best character of the movie. But Richard Dawson is just so well cast in this movie. I read a piece of trivia on IMDb that someone said like, this was a rumor that this is how he actually treated like the underlings around him. I really hope that's not true.
Oh, I hope it
It's-
is.
I think
true.
it's absolutely.
It's gotta be,
It's
yeah.
true.
I mean, he was like a 70s, 80s star.
I would.
There's
argue,
no way he was nice to people.
I would argue that he's not actually acting in this movie.
Oh, man.
No, I think you're
Come on
probably
in.
right. Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of acting,
We have-
but it's kind of.
We have some drugs, we have some alcohol, and go. Where's my script? You don't have one.
I did notice a few times where he was mouthing the dialogue of his screen partner.
Nice.
Yeah, especially with the old
Wow.
ladies. He
That's a
was
nice
he
catch.
was lip syncing with them,
Wow.
which is like a real I mean, people do that, and it's a weird thing. Like after you've, like it showed he put in the work because he memorized the whole script, even the other person's work, like dialogue. But yeah, it was a little funny seeing him lip sync like what the old ladies were saying to him.
Now I want to go back and watch more of this.
Yeah, I want to see that as well.
Well, we're continuing on with our somewhat sci-fi month. Last time we also had a movie about sci-fi stuff, and next week we're going to have a movie about sci-fi stuff. So Demolition Man was our last movie, and now we're back into another future.
Did that episode come out? Or will have by the time anyone hears this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yes. That is true. That is true. I had to think about podcast time. And
Yeah,
all
I
of
don't.
this.
For some reason, despite having a podcast, I don't know how that works.
Well, I bring it up that we're continuing Sci-Fi Month because in Demolition Man, they allude to the crazy earthquake of 2010 that basically like took out half of the United States of America, and then people started living underground.
Yeah,
and
I
it
remember
got super
that.
weird. But now we got 2017. The world economy has collapsed.
That's true. That did happen.
Yeah, food, natural resources, and oil are in short supply.
That's accurate.
Still, yeah.
A police state divided and into paramilitary zones. I don't know about that so much.
I mean, there were small zones, but there were zones.
Yeah, there were.
But they rule with an iron hand.
You ever been to Wyoming?
TV is controlled by the states, and a sadistic game show called The Running Man has become the most popular game show
Pretty
in
close.
history.
Yeah.
What would be our most popular TV show in history?
You know, in real life?
Like Friends?
Cheers
or something. Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.
Like Friends
It
is
was
taking
probably
over.
like the Today Show or whatever is on Fox News.
Oh God.
Mike, do you want to split off, do another podcast just about like the Today Show?
Okay.
The night show about the
Then
Today
you could have
Show?
spin-offs of that. You could have the Today Show podcast, then you could have the Today Show Hour 2 podcast.
Oh man.
But we're not done with that opening. All art, music, and communications are censored.
Yeah, that's correct.
I also love the fonts and the design of these opening credits.
Well, it lets you know, continuing on, that no dissent is tolerated, and yet a small resistance movement has managed to survive underground.
Yeah, that's 2017. That's what happened.
That's what I was doing.
And then when high-tech gladiators do some other stuff, I don't know, it says a bunch of stuff, and then I kind of stopped writing.
I tried to type all this out, but I gave up like halfway through because it just kept going.
Yeah, people are yearning for freedom. There's gladiators, and that's kind of where we're at. And then we go right to a helicopter scene where Ben Richards, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, has a little co-pilot, and they're just, flying around, and they highlight that there's 1,500 civilians unarmed doing nothing.
It's a food riot.
Yeah, people just want some food. They're a little agitated.
For Christ's
but-
sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no one's doing anything crazy, and he gets the order to just shoot them all, and he says no to that.
No,
To hell with you.
How that?
I will not shoot them. They are unarmed. Why?
We should keep
That
going
is
with
exactly
that.
what he said. Yeah, that was it.
Why did they want him to shoot the people?
Yeah, that's a good question because they obviously, they know it's not cool. So they go to the extent of doctoring it and putting him in a penal colony or whatever.
Right.
Right. I also want to point out in this perspective that we're seeing right now. We're seeing like the director's perspective, like a camera like swoop around, like a little bird's eye view of everyone in the copter. And
Yeah,
then
but this is apparently security footage.
yes,
Yeah,
and that's
that's right.
and that's why I'm pointing that out. And then we also see like the reverse dash cam essentially, where it's on Arnold Schwarzenegger and the co-pilot. Like, okay, but as Chris noted, we're gonna see this footage later, including the perspective of Arnold Schwarzenegger getting face butted with a gun. But that's all on camera.
Yeah, from his POV.
Yeah. I was thinking about that later in the film. I was like, wow, these cameras are really high tech in the future.
They're just everywhere.
They're in your eyes.
They're in that gun that he got hit with. There's camera.
Fun eye cameras.
But yeah, I mean, do you think he was just being set up? What was the purpose of this?
I just think they're trying to make a point. Like my guess that this was poorly written right here was the government was
Stephen
like,
King thing poorly written.
well,
Adapted.
You can't blame this on
It was
Stephen
adapted.
King.
Yeah, we've got levels too, and we've got that director and we've got the screenwriter involved. And so I really feel the piss poor job was to highlight that the government just does things like this to make points every now and then. Like if there's any uprising, if there's anything, as like that opening note was, there's no music, it's all thought control. There's anything, you shut it down. And then Schwarzenegger's like, I'm not going to shoot a bunch of unarmed people. They just want some food. And he's like, detain him. And then he tries to fight, and then they beat the crap out of him, and he sees a gun right to his head. And
it does sort of imply that this is like the first time Schwarzenegger has been sort of confronted with the corrupt government.
Which is very surprising.
So Chris, what you're saying is this is day one of the job.
This is his first day.
They let him fly the helicopter on day one. That's pretty good.
It's where you separate who's part of that crew.
It almost seems like they're testing him, right?
Yeah.
And it's
like he's so
won't go
moral, like he has mercy and is very like strong moral compass. But presumably before the helicopter, all this stuff existed.
Sure.
Like the Running Man and all that stuff. He was like, that's fine.
I agree. It seems like even when they actually get to the game show, they have like no idea what it is. That's how it seems, right?
Yeah.
The number one TV show ever.
Yeah, America's number one show, but apparently this guy has not heard of it at any point in time.
I will also say that this movie's awesome, and I'm not criticizing it.
So I mean, I'm just gonna like open up. Like this movie is like a hot mess in so many areas, but it's so fun to watch. I mean, like this. So Chris, you were asking us like how this fits, kind of like why we have this podcast. I think it fills that B-side movie. Like this is like the best B-side movie we could ever watch, because it has like really cool people. It has inside jokes. It's just super weird. And when it's trashy, you're like, that's funny. But then when it's like a fight scene, you're like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And then,
we just want to fill that B-side.
I guess.
This was a very important movie for me when I was a child.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Very important. I used to reenact scenes from it with G.I. Joe guys. Because I enjoyed it that much. Yeah.
Did any G.I. Joe character fit the bill for Dweezil Zappa?
That's a good question. It would be like the medic, maybe. I forget what that G.I. Joe guy's name was.
Who would Mick Fleetwood be? Zartan?
Yeah, probably.
You've never seen
Mick Fleetwood. There's a whole other conversation there.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Well, we get a quick flash forward to Wilshire Detention Zone 18 months later, and Schwarzenegger, I think we already talked about, sporting a beard, lifting some iron. He's okay.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, doing iron lifting things.
Schwarzenegger in this time is just wild. Like, what? Like, in America, this guy and his heavy Austrian accent that everyone chose to ignore because of how awesome he is. Just like the eye acting and stuff that he does in this movie is so awesome. Like, he has like so much charisma that like it doesn't matter how weird his accent is in the context or how not good at acting he is. Just like his face and charisma is so awesome. Like there's just nobody that has ever been like that. So supremely untalented and so just fucking awesome in every movie.
He just paid off every time. You always knew he was going to do something badass, right? No matter what, and he pays off every time.
Yeah, I can't take credit for this idea, but I'm going to agree with this. So there was like ideas in real life. Schwarzenegger cheated on his wife and stuff like this. And I was listening to another podcast like years ago, and one of the people on that podcast said, I don't care about those things. Oh, yeah, and personally on the side note, I don't care. Like that's personal business. Like I don't need to know that. So that's like one thing on the side. But now that I do know that, that's where that guy was like trying to highlight. He's like, I just don't care. Like, listen, that sucks for his wife, and I'm not his wife. This dude, no joke, has given me like hundreds of thousands of hours of entertainment because I love his movies so much. He was like everything to me in the 80s, early 90s. And when it comes like, he was like, if he killed a man or like sexually assaulted someone, that would be a lot different. He's like, he cheated. That sucks. I don't care. Leave his personal life out of it. Like
separate the art from the artist.
Yeah. And he's just like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like, for some reason with Schwarzenegger, there are zero expectations going into whatever he's in. Yeah. So whatever he delivers is awesome. You start at nothing, even if you've seen all of his movies, and you put on a Schwarzenegger movie, you just don't expect anything good from him, but you always get it.
Mike, we watched
got a
a
lot of
somewhat
classics.
modern movie. He's like the sheriff of a town. I think Luis Guzman, Community graduate,
Yeah.
isn't it? I want to say like 2015 or 16.
Yeah.
It was wildly entertaining.
I know what movie you're talking
I believe
about.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how he does it.
He's got a lot of classics. He really does.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, we're 70 plus episodes into Rabbit Troop Sucks, and this is our first Schwarzenegger film. Crazy.
That is crazy.
I know. I just didn't want to do it all at once, and Mike and I talked about this. They're like, we could just do like Schwarzenegger for a year.
And I would. I'd happily do that.
No. I got to partition that. But
2020 Schwarzenegger.
nice.
Do it.
Okay, there's the Patreon channel, Mike.
Okay.
All Schwarzenegger all the time. Well, they're at this detention zone. There's lots of security. And we meet two people. We meet Laughlin and we meet Weiss. And we're going to meet up with them later. But they're trying to break out of the prison. Weiss is somewhat of a hacker. Laughlin, I don't really know. Just
Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah.
He's a badass.
He is a badass.
He is a badass. So I don't know his expertise.
He's getting his head inflated until it explodes.
Yeah.
By James Bond.
Oh no. And Weiss again is pretty good with hacking. Schwarzenegger just seems all around just there. And what they're trying to do is take down the security that's aligning the walls, and they have these shock collars that if they go past the security, their heads will explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, these those little tripod things
Yeah.
that are 10 feet apart from each other.
Yeah.
Just knock one over.
Right.
Run out. Apparently it's a 10-foot range on one of these things.
Well, and the guards that are controlling him just have a little laptop set up on a card table in the middle of the prison for some reason.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that difficult of a thing.
And instead of being a light that says that the perimeter is off, it
It's a voice.
very loudly announces that it says the perimeter is off, and then it puts the text in very viewable letters.
It's a standing desk. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're working
well,
on.
you gotta have
They
good
predicted
posture.
it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, basically what they're trying to do is input the same code that they just saw, but for some reason they've moved this computer that they've obtained, and they're like, we got to get this out of here. It's not uploading to the signal. Some dude runs out. He does explode. He's gone. And then they eventually take down the guards, and then they all leave. And the question I have, another tech question is, okay, so all these poles are now deactivated. Their shock collars are now, they're not going to explode. So they run to what I call City Town for the rest of the movie. It reminds me of an encampment from Final Fantasy games. This is where you trade in some low-level stuff. And
Awesome
get some
mad
low-
painting, though.
Yeah, it was good.
But they go there and they get their collars removed. But here's the thing. Why would they not explode? Okay, so they took down 7 guards.
They turned off the perimeter, and they were...
So no one
It
like
does explode. They have to throw it down that trash can.
Yeah.
but when they leave the area and a new set of guards comes in.
I think they had a positive...
Oh, there's
these
a
things have
yeah.
a positive trigger on them.
Sure.
So it's sort of like an early... invisible fence kind of situation.
So
where
if you go too
100
far
feet,
past
maybe
it,
100
Yeah.
feet.
yeah, so it works if there are sensors there to see that you're doing it. But once you go past, it doesn't keep doing it.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's craziness.
It is literally invisible fence technology.
Yes.
Except worse because you have to put these things up every 10 feet, which are probably really expensive.
Yeah. And no one thought to knock one over or anything.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you saw the quality build of those things.
Yeah, they were pretty sturdy looking.
I do love the guy that continues to run. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
clearly hears them early on.
No,
just continues
Chico,
to
don't
run.
do it. He's like, nope, I can do it. I can make it.
I got it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, dogs do that.
Yeah.
If a dog runs through an invisible fence, it hurts, but they just keep going and they're fine.
Yeah.
So that's what he's going for.
It was a great setup for the rest of the movie, and I remember thoroughly enjoying that part because it's that's what you want when
Yeah,
you're a kid.
right.
That's
Yeah.
what you want to happen. It's
There's
like,
a lot of,
I hope his head blows up.
Lore and detail in this movie that is just taken for granted, which I like. So a lot of the stuff in the movie is sort of they assume people watching it are going to sort of already be into sci-fi. So it just sort of explains itself. You get the hex code.
Yeah.
And-
you don't need a lot of context.
Yeah,
for
and
it.
the collars and everything. And, a normie isn't going to super understand that until the guy's head explodes. But they throw a bone to nerds, which I like.
Nerds need bones.
Yeah, nerds need bones. That's your T-shirt.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. Well, they get to City Town, and they do get those shock collars off.
Yeah.
And Mario's correct that they kind of deactivate it, but then there's like a really quick moment where they have to throw it into like a sewer and it explodes.
But who deactivates them?
Mick fucking Fleetwood.
Yeah.
So is he just playing an older version of himself in
Yes.
this movie?
That's what I heard the
100%.
rumor was. Yeah.
Okay.
The rumor is
It's like
him.
Tom Petty in The Postman.
Yeah.
Well, then there's another character, Stevie, that's working with them. So the whole like
I don't think
thoughts-
that's Stevie Nicks.
Yeah. Boom.
He found Dweezil Zappa instead.
Dweezil Zappa's there.
Yeah.
That's how you got to do it. Well, everyone disbands. It's, like, again, the beginning of a Final Fantasy game. We're in it together. Now we're out. And Weiss is like, come on, man. I want to upload the truth. And he's like, nah, bro. and he leaves. And he's like, I'm going to go meet my brother. And he's going to, like, go take me across the border. And Laughlin's like, man, well, it was good working with you. And they leave off on good terms.
Yeah.
And then Schwarzenegger does some really stupid shit. Like, I don't know what this whole, like, my brother's going to give me a ride situation is. Because it seems like, one, he hasn't talked to his brother. And the fact that you have to go into a major city to meet your brother to do this. My thought is, like, if I had to call Mike and he's going to get me across the border, I'm like, dude, I'm meeting you in the woods. Not like I'm meeting you at Cherry Creek Mall. If you could go to, like, Starbucks by me, like, that'd be great. Could we just be on every security camera on the face of the earth? Like, cool stuff. But he also somehow has, like, a worker pass. I don't know if that makes sense.
It came with his impossibly tiny hard hat that he was wearing.
My thought is there was going to be an action figure line.
We did talk about that, how like Final Fantasy his outfit was.
Oh, it's very Final Fantasy, yeah.
You got a Final Fantasy when you go into the city. Come on.
Yeah.
Chris, when you and Mike go out to dinner later tonight, did you bring your Final Fantasy jacket?
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, I guess.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
But yeah, he goes up to this apartment and I don't know what's going on. He like makes his way there.
Well, yeah, it's the same door code to get in.
It's such a weird cut.
Yeah, it was very weird.
What was the name of the person that was supposed to be there?
His brother?
Yeah, but what was the name?
I have no idea.
It was like William or something. Like he
William Richards.
we see him like walk down the hallway, get into the door,
Uh-huh.
come through.
He opens the door with the code.
He finds some lingerie
Yeah.
because the person that lives there, spoiler alert, is really into lingerie.
Yeah. And Bowflex.
Yeah, and he just goes like, William, and then it cuts.
Yeah. And we're also seeing while this is happening, a Richard Dawson intro. He rolls up in some crazy ass limo. Do you guys know what it is?
It's a Maserati Quattroporte
Absolutely.
extended.
I knew it. I knew someone in this room would know it. That's fantastic.
It's dope.
It is dope.
It is dope. I also think that like everything they show in here, technology wise and product wise, is non-American, which is also like a little nod to the economy of having collapsed.
Oh, yeah.
So no one has an American anything anymore.
Well, they were
Nice.
assuming that Italy's economy would be better than ours, which was one mistake.
No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone seems to love Richard Dawson, who is Killian. He rolls up.
I love him.
Yeah, we all love him. He rolls up in this limo. Everyone's like chanting his name. He's signing some autographs. He seems like a really nice guy on the surface. Once we get
Does
in,
he?
Oh, for 1 second. For 1 second. Once he immediately gets inside, the janitor or the custodian goes over his boot or shoe with a mop.
It's a nice shoe.
Yeah, he's like, no worries. Like, things happen. All my love to you and your family. And then much like a scene from Scrooged, he's like, you better fire this guy or it's your job. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you know what? I think like if he was really like an evil boss, he would have kept the guy on. Because that was like the fake.
Oh, yeah.
You want to be like the fake nice guy.
Yeah.
oh, then just make his life hell.
Yeah.
He's a janitor. I mean, his probably life isn't great anyway.
America loves the host. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
can do no wrong.
He is awesome. I love him too. Yeah.
I almost can't get over the fact, Mario, that you would reenact with G.I. Joe, the Running Man. I'm like, I'm taking that in my mind. Like, that's echoing in my head.
Oh, no, we used to do
I
that all the time.
reenacted a lot
awesome.
of movies,
That's
but
awesome.
Running Man was in the rotation.
We'd put like,
Yeah.
because we, like, me and my friend that would play G.I. Joes, we'd always like create these elaborate plots. Like we would do like 8 hours of G.I. Joe in a row, and Running Man, doing some sort of dystopian game show thing, very often played into the plots we would come up with.
Yep.
If to psychologically unpack some things, and I've noted this, I don't think on here, but to some of you, almost every run of G.I. Joe, I would do similar things, different scenarios and whatever. But the final synopsis of my G.I. Joe playing was everyone died. Every single character is dead.
Yes.
Except Snake Eyes and Timberwolf. And they lived with all the supplies at the opposite end of my room, happily ever after.
That's a good choice,
Yeah.
except for the fact that he's blind, right? So
Well, mine.
He can't talk. He can't talk.
Yeah. Ours never went with G.I. Joe canon. So it was just like the tools to create our own stories.
Nice.
So it was always like
that was
everyone
what I did
died,
as well.
but your main character turns out was a robot or a cyborg.
Nice.
And then you had the T-800 endoskeleton.
Of course.
Yeah.
Every now and then I would have Storm Shadow turn back
yeah?
to good, but would also die. And Snake Eyes then again would live happily ever after with Timberwolf.
That's good.
And all the supplies.
That's
It's
a
a
good
good
dramatic
ending.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never knew. And
Mine usually ended with a fight to the death between like the last two living
Of course.
G.I.
Nice.
Joe guys. Yeah.
yeah. Say, Mike, you want to come over next week, crack open some G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
I mean, I did do that for a long time until one day I went over to my friend's house that we would always do it at. And he's like, I think we're a little too old for G.I. Joes. Then we never did it again.
Oh, boo.
That's a sad
Yeah.
day.
And I didn't feel like I was too old for G.I. Joes. I think I was. But at the time, I didn't think I was.
This was earlier today.
I was maybe like 14.
Right, okay.
I think my transition was like the last toys I got, like I didn't play with, but I would just like put on like a shelf. And be
Yeah.
like they're just models essentially. Like
Once you put the statue on the shelf, it's over.
Yeah, we're looking at
That
some
was
of
the
those
beginning.
presently.
Yeah, you got some of those here. Yeah.
well, my daughter plays with like all those.
I see
pretty
it, Robbie
knightly.
the robot up there.
There's robots for sure. Yeah, so like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then we're back in the apartment, and that weird cut Chris was talking about. We get to meet Amber. Amber comes home now and was like, "What's going on?" And she's working out to Captain Freedom.
Yeah, she's doing Bowflex in her lingerie, as one does.
And pantyhose.
Yeah.
Right.
She's
Not-
great, by
Guys,
the way.
it's 2017.
She is, yeah.
Please.
So where is Arnold at this point?
He's
He's in it is a penal colony or
he's there.
no.
he's there.
He's
Yeah.
doing
He's like
He's in the apartment.
He's just
Oh, right,
moving,
right,
he's just
right.
moving
Yeah.
very slowly and
Yeah,
cautiously.
Because like she got home, like made herself a drink, got changed,
Yeah.
got on the Bowflex. He's been here the whole time.
he's been watching. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. He
Yeah.
was just in a chair.
I see.
He was just in a lazy boy chair in the middle of the room. He presented himself.
Well, he did present himself. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not super stoked about this because this dude is wanted. It's all over the news that Richards is wanted. And we'll see the news is not to be believed. Everything is amping up what he's doing more and more. And it's all untrue.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Maria Conchita Alonso, sorry. And she is great in this movie.
Yeah, she's
I
awesome.
like her a lot.
Yeah.
She's also great in Predator 2,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is also a great movie.
It's an amazing movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and she notes that the previous tenant, which is Richards' brother, he was detained, taken away for re-education.
Yeah. This does not seem to concern Arnold at all.
No.
He went looking for his brother. Oh, he was taken away for re-education. Like, that's great. We got to go.
Yeah.
Also, this
He
is
didn't
like
have
a
time
real
for him anyways.
I'm not looking for him. Yeah.
1987. It's too sexy for a kidnapping sort of situation. Like it's sexy.
It's
I'm gonna
very
say,
sexy,
but it's too sexy for what the context is.
I'm laughing because I understand every word that you're saying to me right now. I feel if you have not seen this movie, you're gonna be like, go on.
Yeah,
It's a too sexy.
it's a too sexy.
She has a sweet synth setup that I noticed.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, she
she's a
does.
musician.
She's a composer.
Whoa. Yeah, we're all right.
Okay.
I'm a you a musician? I'm actually a singer. She goes into her whole backstory.
Yeah.
And then Richards takes her money and her travel pass.
Speaking of music, this movie has amazing music. The main theme of this movie
Oh, it's great.
is so chill.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's by the guy who did Beverly Hills Cop.
Nice.
Oh.
So is this like Arnold A or Arnold S?
It's like Arnold S. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I want. No one writes them like Axel F anymore.
No, they don't.
Well, it's really convenient that he has this travel pass because he just booked some tickets and he's like, hey, we're getting the hell out of here.
Worst plan.
Yeah, and she's like, all right, no. And he's like, well, I'm taking you with. And they immediately get to the airport. And this really holds up. He gets to the security line and he shows a pass, which is hers. And the guy scans it through and he's like, where's hers? And I'm like, dude, you would probably know it's hers because some identifier would be there, a picture, a name, something. He's like, well, I don't know where hers is. And then someone in the line's like, come on, move it there. and the security guard's like, yeah, just get the hell out
you would
here.
think that. But a friend of my wife's, my wife, she went to the airport with her husband. Her husband just completely forgot his ID. He's not a smart man. And they let him on the plane anyway.
There are ways to do this.
I almost don't believe that.
No.
That's crazy.
No, they did. Like, he had his boarding pass, but did not have his ID, did not have a passport,
Okay.
and just sort of let him go through.
You seem like an honest guy.
Oh, well, not to that extent, Mike, but I've definitely been at the airport where people are like, I don't have my ID, and people are like, well, you have to like go to this other room, and like, I don't know how they do it, but like, you're going to a probably scary place. But I've definitely seen this. Pre 9/11, I was at Midway Airport in Chicago, and it was early in the morning, and it was just busy. And I went up to one of the security officers by one of the many gate checks. So again, pre 9/11. And this makes me think of this movie. And I was like, I'm really sorry to bother you. And they're like, yeah, what do you need? And I was like, I just need to use the restroom. Where's the closest one? And the person, no shit, just goes, go around. I went in back of them. I went in back of the person, and they're like, just make sure to tell me when you're back. And I said, okay.
Just use one on the airplane. It's fine.
Right, and I did. I was like, okay. Like, I'm back there. And the person's like, thanks for letting me know. Because there was like a bathroom like 12 feet behind them. And I was like, I cannot even imagine in this day and age that someone would just say that to me. I think we would all be detained at that point in time.
I don't know. I mean, we're, just a bunch of white dudes, so probably not.
That's fair.
That's fair, yeah.
That's unfortunately fair.
I mean, I think that's how he got through.
Yeah, like this guy's got an Austrian accent. He seems legit.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Well, and he's complaining about his wife,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And
no one likes
acting
their
like
wives,
she's a
yeah.
nuisance.
Yeah,
right?
he's
And they're
very
like, oh,
incognito
God,
because he's like
just
8
go on
feet
through.
tall.
Yeah, Mario. So you feel things didn't change in that 2017 future. It's like as long as you
No.
nag about your wife. Well,
That's right.
I really think that's fine. Yeah, that's 2017. Yeah.
It's like the Homer Simpson view for here into eternity. Like, that guy's just going to a bar. It's going to be fine. Well, everything goes wrong for him at the airport. Amber just ball punches him. Amber's really good at that. Good job,
Yeah.
Amber.
A lot of ball stuff.
Well,
in this
and
movie.
rightfully so. I'm not even joking. Like,
Yeah.
she should have just kicked him in the balls a million times. In her situation, I don't blame her. She runs off and they get him. Now we see Killian, and Killian's super excited. We got to get this guy Richards. He's going to be awesome. And they detain Richards. And Killian opens up with, "Hi, cutie pie."
Yeah.
Not what I want.
We haven't talked about his lackey, Kurt Fuller,
yeah.
our second Kurt Fuller appearance.
Yeah.
What's our first?
Great Kurt Fuller.
Miracle Mile.
Oh, yeah, that's right. On the rooftop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't get any respect.
There's also a couple additional cameos in this movie. 3 that I could point out. Do you know any of these people that I'm talking about?
I don't know.
We're
Who
talking
are you
beyond-
going to say?
Like Beyond the
Not
Stalkers?
Stalkers.
Not Stalkers.
And,
no.
and not Dweezil Zappa?
And not Dweezil Zappa.
And not...
Mick Fleetwood.
Mick
And not
Fleetwood.
not Mick Fleetwood.
I don't know.
So one of the women in the control room is the landlord from Kingpin.
That's...
Oh, no
nice.
shit.
Wow.
Wow.
One of the women that is interviewed in the crowd is Charlie's mom from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
And I forgot the third one.
That's-
You didn't say any of this shit to me when
That
we
was
were
good.
watching.
Yeah,
You,
those
we gotta
two are
say,
good.
you gotta,
fucking
you gotta
snake in
save
the
it.
grass.
Yeah, that's right.
So I something interesting I read, Mick Fleetwood, right? I was like, it's amazing he's in this movie and he's in it a lot. And I was like, has he been in any other movies? And I read that he was one of the drummers who auditioned in Spinal Tap.
Whoa.
Right?
Oh,
And
wow.
that's actually
Yeah,
the one with the
that's
bag
cool.
on his head.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who's playing? So yeah, I thought that was pretty great.
That's awesome.
The guy who's assigned to Arnold as like his prison agent is
Yeah. His court-appointed theatrical
Agent?
Oh, yes. He looks very familiar.
yeah, he's one of the fathers from, he's Lou Schwartz from the Goldbergs.
Oh.
Oh, God, you're right.
Yeah.
That's really funny that you're saying that because I could hear his voice and I saw him on a episode of Family Ties not too long ago.
Of course he did.
And I pointed that out to my wife and she's like, wow, he's been on there for a second. I was like, I just needed to hear that guy's voice. I am so surprised I did not pick that up.
He's been in a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff, that guy.
Here we also have Amber doing some weird stuff. Amber is like watching TV, and you might think like, why is Amber still part of this movie? Well, it'll all kind of unfold here in a moment. But we start getting a trend, and this is what I was texting Mario yesterday about. One of my absolute favorite things about this film, and especially it was me watching as a kid, was the commercials that are all throughout. And our first commercial is Climbing for Dollars.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Climbing for Dollars is basically just a gym rope in the middle of a junkyard where dogs are trying to destroy you. But the higher you climb up on a rope, the more dollars you get. And you see some guy climbing, and they're like, climbing for dollars will be like 9 o'clock. Like, how much money can he make? And the last moment, you just hear, ah! And the guy lets go, and you assume he's dead.
It is an unwinnable game. That's how
Yeah,
it
that
appears,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone,
So-
the dogs get everyone every time.
What year did RoboCop come out?
Ooh, that's
a good question.
I'm going to guess
88. 88, yeah.
So
88,
RoboCop
89.
came out after this movie?
Now you're putting, like, I don't know.
Because it's got a lot of RoboCop
RoboCop
vibes.
87.
Okay, same year.
Same year.
Yeah.
Well. Where's Lamar when you need him? Lamar, our diehard RoboCop fan.
What about Robert?
RoboCop's amazing.
I love
RoboCop 2
RoboCop.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RoboCop 3. It's not amazing,
Guys,
No.
but it does have "Allow me, scum," which is the best
Yeah.
line.
I don't
That's
recall
accurate.
RoboCop 3,
How
so
about-
it was definitely not good. Yeah.
Well, how about RoboCop the animated series?
Okay.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I
it could
don't
be a part of
recall-
it.
I don't recall anything.
I don't remember it, yeah.
It could be a part of all of your lives. But Schwarzenegger Richards does have a court-appointed theatrical agent, and he's like, "Hey, you're going to be on the show, and the deal's signed." And that's kind of where we're at. This is where they take him right to the TV show. We immediately see City Town taking bets on this guy. Right?
Yeah, no,
Yes.
that's accurate.
That's
Okay.
against
Okay.
him, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's like a whole montage. They inject like a tracker into his arm that's never mentioned again.
Yep. Total Recall style.
Yeah. Lou Schwartz gives him the rundown of what he can expect. He stabs him in the back, literally with a pen.
With the pen.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
when
that's
he's
great.
signing.
Yeah.
Okay.
we see the stalker, which we'll see later. Buzzsaw walking through a crowd. Everyone's like
Yeah.
super happy.
Everyone loves Buzzsaw.
Oh, yeah.
I think we also got our first clip of Jesse Ventura as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Who is a previous stalker, but now he's just like a
Commentator. Yeah.
he's a commentator.
Great wig.
Very good wig.
Yeah.
And so, basically the reason Richard signed this is this contract was he had no other choice. I mean, it was like, you're detained. You're never leaving this room.
Well, yeah.
Here's the choice. Like, you could be on this game and maybe fight for your life, or you're going to prison and we'll execute you or do other horrendous things to you. So the deal was like
They had his like buds
They had
too.
his buds,
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that was the original contract.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing he's like, hey, before you go in, surprise, because Richard Dawson or Killian is full of surprises. And it's like, hey, here are your two buddies too. And surprise, you're all three going there.
Well, I
'Cause-
mean, he signed the contract because Dawson said, like, if you don't sign it, I'm sending your friends down.
Correct.
Yes.
And he was like, no, like, they're huge pussies. They can't do it.
That's right.
Like, I'll have to do it.
It's like, you can make it on
Yeah.
your own, but
And
your
now-
friends...
Now they got the three of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now they have to fight 400 square blocks.
Yeah. While
3
wearing
hours.
While wearing dope Adidas jumpsuits.
Yeah. Those
I-
were awesome jumpsuits.
Like bobsled suits.
They would be such great Halloween outfits. Like, if people got
It's
what
a
was
great
going
costume.
on. Yeah. that'd
well, he
be
had
awesome.
that Game of Death homage
Oh,
in
yeah.
his
Yeah.
jumpsuit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
You can buy them. I found them online.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we did. We found him.
We did
That
some
would be a
research.
great costume with...
Are they
Just be a great everyday.
Are they expensive?
I mean, they're not like a high quality costume. They're like $50.
Yeah.
I mean, is this like what?
You can
like,
they're like their tracksuits. Like
Yeah.
you can get the full jumpsuit, but you can just get like tracksuit versions.
do we need to link our Rabbit Troop Sucks with like pleasures and be like, hey, do you like to role play? Do you like movie role playing? Like, get a Running Man tracksuit. Like you and your partner could role play the Running Man. Nope.
Okay. No, I mean, that's
that'd be
fine.
fine, yeah.
I'll take that dirty sex toy money from Pleasures.
Okay. I thought you were saying you're in for the role playing.
Oh, well, I mean, whatever.
Well,
I think
again,
like what's her name definitely looked best in that jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Because honestly, and
well, I was thinking like one person would wear like the Running Man outfit, and then your other partner would like stalk you.
would be
So-
Killian
Yeah,
or
like
in
Buzzsaw
the
or-
hot glue LEDs
Yeah.
vest.
Yeah. You could get a whole light setup for your bedroom.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be good. Yeah.
Drive around in that little car.
That car is the worst.
That would make a very good like race car bed for a child. Though,
Yeah.
you know? It's kind of built that way.
Yeah. So, and then, hey, right before we shoot Arnold Schwarzenegger down, we get the trademark, I'll be back. 40 minutes into the movie, I'll be back. And,
Yep.
I do like Killian and me. It's a good comeback. Only in a rerun.
Yeah,
And-
that's great.
Yeah, and he shoots him right down. Yeah, Killian's a son of a bitch. Like, but his
awesome.
Yeah, his one-liners, like he's so well cast in this movie. I think part of the trivia I read somewhere was like someone doubted him, like, or maybe like Schwarzenegger was like, I want him, or maybe even Schwarzenegger doubted like, should we really have a game show host? This totally paid off. So noting that they're gonna do perhaps this Edgar Wright film. Who would be the modern Richard Dawson? Who would you want the game show host to be?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Harry Connick Jr.
Jimmy Fallon. I'd go with Jimmy Fallon.
But I hate Jimmy Fallon.
Exactly. I think that's kind of what you want, though, right?
That's kind of interesting. Yeah, like so many people hate Jimmy Fallon, and
Or like Drew Carey.
I'm gonna keep with the Family Feud thing. I want to see Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey would be.
No, that would be
Steve
good,
Harvey
yeah.
would
Yeah,
be
let's have
great.
Steve Harvey.
I
there.
think it would work if Steve Harvey's character, like the backstory was like he is also imprisoned and he has to be this host, and if he is not the host, like it couldn't be like like he could have like side things like he's got a little bit of money and he's got like a penthouse, but like if he ever like he's enslaved to the network as well, like that it would have
Yeah.
to be.
What if it was like Rudy Giuliani?
God? Oh my God.
Too slimy.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I
Or like Dr. Oz.
I think like would half these people even realize they're on a movie?
No.
No.
Yeah, that would be.
They wouldn't get the irony, which would be the best part.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. Well, what about Matt Lauer? He's kind of a piece of shit.
Oh, Matt Lowry, yeah. He's a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
And people loved him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But you wouldn't really want to pay him to do something.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another.
Al Roker.
That'd be hilarious. Again, it would have to be
Like Jake Tapper.
Like the network would never let me go. But
Wolf Blitzer.
here's another fun weak part of the writing of this film. So now Richards is detained and he's like, or I'm sorry, yeah, like, he's been shot down and stuff. But Amber saw him beforehand. I forgot to note that as he was detained and before they put him in the pod, he's handcuffed and walked down a hall. And I'm like, Amber works in the same building
Right.
as this dude. Like, and no one thought to warn. Like, remember the guy who kidnapped you? He's going to be like 20 feet away from you. Like, maybe the trauma that you're experiencing.
They don't seem to care about that.
Well,
No.
she also sees the arrest footage, which is highly doctored.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
in the arrest footage, he's like murdering people. She's like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I better go a snooping.
True.
That's why I wanted to note, because that's my next note, Mike, that she starts snooping around. But I was like, she also saw him beforehand. I was like, it's really coincidental that this like show is being filmed literally like 3
Yes.
floors away.
Yeah,
And that's what
her
happens in this movie
coworker
is
says-
that nothing in this universe existed before this movie started.
Correct.
Yes, but her coworker also says like the most horrific thing to her.
Oh
right?
my God,
Something
yeah.
something about like he could rape you, right?
He could have
Or
raped
kill
and killed you.
then he can
Or
kill
killed you and
you
raped you.
first and
Yeah.
rape you. Yeah,
But
And she
also,
seemed into
wow.
yeah, she said that while she was smoking a cigarette, like, yeah, he could have raped you. All right.
I mean, there is a lot of parts in this movie that are pretty rapey.
Yeah, well, then there's
including the actual
The actual
rapey
rapey part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
no one was really that phased by it.
No, it's
No.
fine. It was a different time.
It's the 80s.
Yeah. Well, that person's going to get their comeuppance when that happens.
They
which-
do get comeuppance.
So now
Uppins come up.
we're in some city town action. A lot of people taking bets. And I like that while city town is taking bets, we get to see the crowd of the audience. And this woman comes out. She's been picked by, it's like, Susie, come on down. And when you're selected, you win games and prizes as an audience member in the crowd, but you get to select the stalker that you want to go after these people, which is kind of amazing. And this older
It's a
woman's
great format.
yeah, like how, because the society is so corrupt at this point in time. You're just like, oh my god, like everyone's just like so unfazed. Like you're picking the killer and everyone's having fun. But as an audience member, like Mike, me, Chris, and Mario, this is awesome. And this older woman goes, I like my men big and cuddly. Subzero. And who is it? It's Professor Subzero, who's also real name.
Professor Subzero.
Yeah.
Yes. What is he a professor of?
Do you know
That's the
his
question.
name is Professor as
It
well?
is,
Yeah.
And I read that and
Physics? Thermodynamics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
Bonsai is his
Philosophy.
catchphrase, right? Which is racist and also pretty incredible.
It's very racist.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
But it's awesome.
he was a Japanese guy, right? So maybe it's okay.
No.
It's like
Not.
If my catchphrase was "Mamma Mia," no.
Mike, your
No,
catchphrase
not
is
really.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Not if somebody else made that your catchphrase.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right. He didn't write it. He did maybe he improv'd it. I doubt it.
Schwarzenegger does give him an upgrade, though.
Yes, he does.
Oh yeah. Well, they're all on a big ice rink fighting this big lug of a man. Sub-Zero has a bladed stick, and what I found kind of unfair, those explosive pucks.
Did you say bladed steak or
Stick.
bladed stick?
Bladed stick. Bladed stick.
Okay. It's not a late stick.
But
It's a hockey stick.
You got it.
yeah. And
I know what you said.
I just found those explosive pucks unfair. I was like, oh, come on. Like, that's like right out of the gate, you have explosive pucks, but
Yeah.
they seem to avoid
Yeah,
them.
it's unsportsmanlike.
They're not that effective.
No,
yeah,
they're really not.
Weiss goes immediately into a goal that just contains him. It just traps shut. So he's down for the count. There's a lot of barbed wire going around, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
This movie loves barbed wire.
it does. Yeah,
Yeah. Or razor wire.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and that's how Sub-Zero gets dispatched.
You know, Sub-Zero. Now, Plane Zero.
Now, Plane Zero.
That's
right.
That's
Yep.
above Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Yep.
He got promoted.
Also, literally everything that Arnold says from here on out
It's
is
amazing.
awesome.
It's
It
so
really
good.
is. He
Yeah.
says the best stuff.
Yeah, I have noted one-liners left and right.
I don't mean any of this as a criticism
No,
because it's just amazing. I'm just admiring it.
You got to admire it.
The perils of the ice, right? That's how he gets them.
yeah. Well, it's tricky out there.
You know, it's hubris.
It is.
That's really how they all fail.
And it
The
is.
hubris of man.
It's true. Sub-Zero's so cocky, he thinks he's invincible, and boom, Richards wraps a bunch of barbed wire around his neck, and then he's just dead. And
He
the,
makes short work of him.
yeah, and
Everyone
Him being
underestimates
such an
the
accomplished
300-pound Austrian ex-special
machine.
forces murder
Yeah.
machine.
And the crowd just cannot believe it. The crowd,
Oh, they're
everywhere.
silent. They're
City town, City town's dumbfounded.
Despondent.
Yeah, everyone's just, which is weird. So there have been winners, and they showed this before. So how did people win this game? I know we'll talk about the trick of this, but how did they win?
Maybe they just run away.
Well, yeah,
I believe that is how you
Okay.
typically
Just
win.
escape.
Yeah.
so
Uh-huh.
yeah, there are 4 quadrants, and in 3 hours, you just got to get out.
How many Jan Michael Vincents are there per quadrant?
Too many Jan Michael Vincents in every quadrant. Have you ever washed with Jan Michael Vincent?
Washed?
bathed?
Yeah, because you'll get them in every quadrant.
Oh wow.
I mean, I've showered.
the tagline of the soap.
We went to a Russian bath together, but
Yeah.
beyond that, no.
Then this whole group is herded by a bunch of gas, which is nice. If it's not biker gangs, it's gas. Everyone's being herded quadrant to quadrant. So now,
How big is a quadrant, by the way?
well,
I mean, it's 1/4, I assume, of
the overall, yeah.
size.
100,
Yeah.
What'd you say? It was 400 square
Square feet.
blocks.
Yeah.
Square blocks.
it's
That's
Maybe.
really fucking big.
That's a lot
That's
of
huge.
blocks.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of quadrant.
That's like 100 square miles.
I had lunch at Quadrant 3 the other day, and it was delightful.
Oh wow. Okay.
But they're going to another quadrant, and everyone is just so sad. And this guy from the crowd, Leon, is called up, and he doesn't know what to do. I mean, someone's dead. No one's ever seen this in the history of the Running Man. Not one single stalker has ever died. That seems like bad writing.
Yeah.
That just seems wild because they all sort of suck at their jobs.
Yeah.
But we have Buzzsaw, who we saw before, and he's like, I don't know Buzzsaw, but I do love Dynamo. And you know what? Killian's just a man of the people.
Yeah.
You could have them both, Leon. Why decide? Let's have the ultimate team up. We have Buzzsaw and Dynamo. Buzzsaw is all chainsaws, and Dynamo, I don't even know what his power is.
He's like Meatloaf wearing a light
Yeah,
plate,
Meatloaf
and he can
is a
shoot
good-
lightning
He
bolts
was
out
an
of
I was
it.
thinking
actual opera.
Liberace.
He was an opera singer in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the singing he did was real. So is
The
he like
exposed hot glue on that vest is absolutely fucking wild.
It was an arts and crafts project. for
Because
sure.
I liked the overall prop design and art design of this movie is really cool.
Yes.
Well, the Running Man is brought to you by Joann's. Joann's for all your fabric needs. Joann's.
Just all the exposed hot glue on that guy's vest was just wild.
Yeah.
And the original shape LEDs.
I mean, his vehicle is something
Well,
I
that's
could
fucking
construct
awesome.
right now.
Yeah.
It's like a little go kart.
Yeah.
I love it. It's cute.
It's like a hoverboard.
I
with
drive
a-
it around.
Yeah, well, Dynamo,
So
I think
fucks
it shoot
Derby.
like lightning, like Raiden. So,
Yeah, basically.
he's all
Yes.
electric and he sings. He's great.
Yeah. Well, and so as these guys are kind of getting queued up, the nerd one,
Weiss. I like Weiss.
Yeah, he's like, hey, we got to find the signal. The signal's down here. We got to. They're trying to like do some hacking to expose this.
Why? Why would they put the fucking access points
right in the
Yes.
middle
in
of
the
the thing?
game area?
Well, they wouldn't, but they did.
Yeah.
But
I guess it's the last place you would look.
and he thinks Dweezil Zappa and Mick Fleetwood are down here somewhere, and so he wants to find the uplink.
As you do.
Yeah. Arnold does not want to do any of this.
Well, I don't think he thinks the resistance is down there. He just wants to get the code to the resistance. Because I will note, when the resistance does show up, it's super bizarre.
What was
It's quite the
what was Kimball's thoughts on the
He has negative thoughts on finding the uplink.
what is it that he says to Weiss?
What he demonstrates to Weiss is that because Weiss is like, we have to find the uplink.
Yeah.
It's
For the underground.
for the underground.
Yeah.
I'll uplink your ass, and you'll be the underground.
And he does.
And he does.
And it becomes
he
a
does.
different movie.
He does
Yeah.
uplink his ass.
Yeah, asses are uplinked.
Yeah, and as noted, Buzz and Dynamo are on their way.
Yeah.
Dynamo is driving a little kid car constructed out of cardboard and spray painted silver.
Mm-hmm.
And the Resistance has been trying to jam this network for 5 years, as noted. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at. And we get into this big arena.
Everything is spray painted silver in this movie, really.
Yeah.
Again, brought to you by Joann's for all your spray paint needs. Show ID at register. Buzzsaw shows up and lassos Richards, as you do.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's kind of like a split up. Richards and what's his name?
Ted Lasso.
No,
No.
No.
Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis. That's what you're looking for.
yeah, that.
Yeah.
They're like battling Buzzsaw while the nerd and the babe are doing like looking for the uplink, and they run into Dynamo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, don't split up.
Why would you split up?
Weiss and Amber do get the code 182461B. A lot of other stuff going on. And then Buzzsaw shows up and Weiss just dies like a very weird death. He's electrocuted. I am not.
He gets extra electrocuted.
Yeah, he gets super electrocuted.
But I'm not under the impression he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Well, he's dead. Oh, he's super dead. But like just like rewatching it, it did make me think that one of the first times I saw it, I thought he was unconscious. I thought maybe he's going to come back. Oh,
Is that because like literally everyone else in this movie gets electrocuted by that guy in
Yeah.
the same way and doesn't
Yes.
die? Yeah.
and I probably had,
Scrawny.
That's where
Yeah.
you failed.
Well, I also had Return of the Jedi brain, where I was like, "Yeah, you get electrocuted for a little bit, whatever. Your body can endure."
But before he got electrocuted, he did like the hacking mini game
Yeah.
from Shadowrun on the screen to
Yeah,
get
that's true, yeah.
61B,
Yeah.
17, 4.
And he makes what's her name?
Amber.
He makes Amber memorize it.
Yeah.
She also gets electrocuted, but not as badly.
She's
I guess.
also
Yeah.
secretively holding some data.
Somewhere.
We don't. It's
We'll get that.
none
It's
of your
none of your
business.
goddamn business where it is.
Well, Dynamo rolls up with was it the Ride of the Valkyries? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he's singing, and he I have this in quotes. Lighthead, hey Christmas tree. I think that's what Richard is yelling at him.
Lighthead is a real solid burn.
Well,
Yeah.
this is after he
Christmas
kills
tree.
Buzzsaw.
Mike, can you give us a hey Christmas tree?
No,
It's for the fans. It's gonna be December sooner. Than later.
he put me on the spot.
Hey,
like that.
Christmas
Hey,
tree!
there you go. That was good. Thank you.
There you go. Well,
Yes,
isolate
and
those.
he critically injures Yaphet Kotto before.
Yes. Yeah. Buzzsaw is Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah, this looks
Yep.
brutal. This is not what I want on me or near me.
No.
Which is
No.
a buzzsaw.
His head doesn't inflate though.
No,
Yeah.
that's
So
a
it's
missed
an
opportunity.
upgrade from Live and Let Die.
Buzzsaw's personally my favorite stalker. Yeah, I think
love
I always
Buzzsaw.
liked
Buzzsaw
him.
too.
Yeah.
I
Buzzsaw
like-
is part of me.
I like his glasses.
Yeah.
And I like his motorcycle. Mm-hmm. I like his
Crazy eyes.
His attitude.
crazy eyes.
He's got a
and
good
his
attitude.
super inconsistent chainsaw.
He is very confident.
Well,
Yeah.
before we go to this ultimate battle, just remember Dynamo is knocked out of commission and his car flips over and he's like, "Oh, no power. Cut to commercial. Commercial." And Richards doesn't kill Dynamo because he doesn't want to kill someone innocent. But
Dynamo's a real dick.
yeah, totally. You think Dynamo would just like walk away at this point in time?
Yep.
He does not.
No.
I mean, like, or at least later, like when he got
Yeah,
away.
we see him later.
Like you would just think he's like, "I'm hanging up this costume. Maybe enough's enough." Apparently not. But yeah, Buzzsaw is still there, and we get a battle to the death,
Yeah.
a duel.
If you think Yaphet Kotto got the Buzzsaw bad, Buzzsaw gets
Buzzsaw
the
gets the worst
in the
Buzzsaw.
worst way.
Yeah.
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 I mean, he did have to split.
This has been brought to you by Jimmy John's. Yeah. And we also get a secret note from Killian. Killian shows up on a video screen and offers Richards a 3-year stalker deal. I'll give you a house, I'll give you a car, I'll give you all these things. Richard basically just declines.
No.
It's just very anticlimactic.
I probably would have taken that.
Yeah, I would
Probably.
as well,
In
yeah.
this world,
Yeah.
I mean, like, even if Kimball gets away with it, they're gonna get him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, but yeah, that's where we're at. And the fight with Buzzsaw ends with junk first and a Buzzsaw. So
Well,
Yeah.
and the other great thing about that fight is like usually heroes like they get lucky or something in some fights. Not Arnold. It's always
He
like
just overpowers
he
them,
purely overpowers them and shows that
My
he is
saw will become
stronger.
part of you.
He always has to show that he's stronger than.
What does he say after he gets him? He's like, "No thanks."
I think it was basically
Yeah,
no thanks.
no thanks. Peace out.
Yeah.
No.
and yeah, as Laughlin dies too, he goes, "You got to succeed with this mission. Get the code out because I don't want to be the only asshole in heaven."
I like that line.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense if
No.
you think about it for a second.
Chris,
It's like I also want you to die. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Chris, no shit. I
guy's
wrote that
not
down,
an
and
asshole.
yeah, and I actually pondered that the whole time, and I was like, "Why is this guy an asshole?" Like you're like on the freedom resistance.
Seems
guy.
cool.
He's a great. He seems like a great guy.
I don't know what it is.
He saved Arnold's life. You know.
Yeah, because he tried to kill Bond.
Hey, for Jeremy out there is no heaven.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, Maddenborg, shout out for our friend Jeremy, his favorite movie. Hey, Mario, I gotta ask some background sports knowledge. I'm glad you're here because boom, we got a new stalker out because everyone's dead or incapacitated, which is Dynamo. We get Fireball, played by Jim Brown. What can you tell us about Jim Brown?
Jim Brown is a Cleveland legend, right? I grew up in Cleveland, and so he's like the comparison point for every Browns football player on offense ever, right? It's like, well, he's no Jim Brown, right? there's always a naysayer, and so he also has had like a huge career. Like after football, he retired early, right? Which I think was a smart move on his part because he stayed healthy, and then he became like an actor right away and was an activist. So yes, he's very, very highly respected and regarded in Cleveland. That's for sure.
So with all that said, how did you like him coming out as the next Stalker?
It's pretty great because up until that point, you're just watching him kind of like watch the
I like
game,
that he had his
right?
shirt completely undone.
He
Like
progressively,
The
progressively
shirt was getting
became-
more and more open.
Yes, he started to prepare.
He seemed a little apprehensive about getting back into costume after all of his colleagues were getting murdered.
I would agree
it's
with
fair.
that.
It's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because he seemed to have the worst sort of gimmick, which was like a flamethrower.
He had a jetpack and a flamethrower. That's
The
pretty
jet-
sick.
He seems the
You
most
very
effective,
likely just kill
and
yourself.
from a distance. Well,
Well, I mean, we all find out that it's true. It's dismantled quite easily. I do
Yes.
like the jetpack aspect. I did
Yeah, that
not
was
see that
cool,
coming.
yeah.
But yeah, just a straight. I don't know if I dig the flamethrower. I don't like that people have like projectile things. I like that buzzsaw has to still like get up in your face and stuff like that. The fact that like someone could like launch like, I don't know, how long is that flame, like 12 feet or
Yeah, it's
something.
a big flame.
And then like that's what I was saying about the explosive hockey pucks, that I think that's a little bit of cheating. I know there's like a crazy thing to say about this movie, but I like the more like they have to use knives or swords or get like one-on-one like combat. That's why they're really good. Not I could shoot you from 150 feet away. Like that.
It seems like they could just do that anyway.
Yeah, that just seems like bad TV.
You are led to believe, though, based on Jesse the Body's character, right, that things used to be different and there used to be more like one-on-one
Oh, less
fights, right?
Yeah.
Less,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Because he bemoans, you
Yeah.
know, those
Yeah,
days,
there was a code.
right?
Yeah, there's a code. There's like a moral to follow. You're totally right, Mario. Well, now we get another old woman from the crowd, and she seems sweet as can be. And who do you want your next stalker to be, or what do you want to say? He's like, or who are you betting on? That's what he asked because they already have Fireball out. And she's like, next, I'm betting on Ben Richards. And he's like, you can't pick you can't pick that person. And she goes, I could pick anyone I choose.
That's right.
Yeah, and I believe she says he's like a motherfucking badass
Yeah,
or
he's a
something,
badass
right?
motherfucker, yeah.
And then we're back in City Town, and they're like, wait a minute. And then I want $200 on Richards myself. And City Town is all for Richards. I love
Yeah,
it.
everyone's on Team Richards now.
I would be.
Makes
Yes.
sense.
Smart money, yeah.
It is, yeah. So as they're kind of running away from, what's his name, Fireball?
Fireball?
Yeah. What's her name? Amber finds they run into like a room.
I know, this is where I know that I wrote Arnie Donkey Kong barrel throwing at Fireball, where he's just like launching barrel.
Yeah, he's just
after
throwing
barrel.
shit at him.
Yeah.
But Amber finds the bodies of the 3 presumed winners.
Oh yeah.
Another weird question about this film.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you dispose of the bodies?
No, you just leave them there. You don't want to go down there. It sucks.
Because no one's gonna get that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think.
And I mean, they're running things.
It's hubris.
They're not really concerned.
It's the
This movie's all
hubris
about
you got.
goddamn hubris.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like they killed them elsewhere and then brought them there.
No, I think they died there.
In a,
Together? They all died in the same room?
well, isn't
Yeah.
there like one in
The
like a
locker
bathtub?
room.
Yeah,
It's the locker room.
yeah. What the hell?
Or maybe they did actually get away and they were just kind of cooling down and they just came in and killed him anyway.
He just roasted him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
knows?
I still just that just okay.
Well, but it doesn't fucking matter because Fireball comes in to fuck with Amber's shit.
Yeah, hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And then Arnold Richards dismantles his gas line immediately and throws a flare in the room,
Yeah.
and he explodes.
So Fireball gets 2 catchphrases. He gets, how about the light? And then when he blows up, he gets, what the hothead?
That is
Yep.
amazing.
Oh yeah, I did
Yep,
write what a
that-
hothead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That maybe is the best line.
Okay. Well, now we're kind of running out of stalkers. Like, what are we gonna do?
Now we're out of stock.
The,
Yes,
the,
they're gone.
the network calls Captain Freedom Jesse Ventura.
Yeah. When they dude him up in like his weird, I don't know what it was supposed to be,
Well,
like his robot suit.
Well,
He's like,
yeah.
I can't do this. You
And
guys.
That's a terrible outfit.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what when Mario noted that he's like, "Hey, man, like, I don't want any of this crap. This has got to be one-on-one. Like, I'm gonna go after this guy. We're not using gimmicks. Like this is why you're failing. And I don't like. He's got some like weird moral code, I guess.
Well,
I don't-
sure, but then they used the ultimate gimmick, which was he did nothing,
Sort of.
And they just deep faked it.
Yeah.
Well, he murders an innocent stunt double.
Sure.
Yeah,
Good. 'Cause he had to kill
or that might have been
somebody,
older
right?
footage.
Yeah.
No, he did.
you know,
They did do it
yeah.
just for that.
No,
yeah.
so what they do
So you
is
didn't have to kill him.
they get a stunt double and then they videographed Richards' face.
Deep faked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when the crowd is watching, it looks like Richards. And they do, or Jesse Ventura does overpower him. There's kind of a bit of a tussle. And then he throws Richards' deep fake onto a bed of spikes. And you could hear one of the people say, like, oh, like, he didn't have to kill him. And someone's like, what great television or something like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, oh, man, like, that stunt double.
Well, the ratings were up 9
The stunt
points.
double gets
That
in a
is
lot
true.
of,
I mean,
a
9
lot of good
points isn't
shots,
nothing.
though, before they go.
Yeah,
right?
it
does,
He
yeah.
was
Okay.
bloodied, yeah.
That stunt double probably realized that they're going to kill him at that point in time.
That
Jesse
would make-
Ventura is going to be pissing blood for a month after
Oh,
that.
those kidney shots? Yeah.
Well, this is where the People's Network just shows up. They're Amber and Schwarzenegger are trapped in a cage, and then all of a sudden a wall breaks down, and it's like the People's Network, and they're like, "Oh, we got
Nick
you."
Fleetwood's there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Nick and
He's
Dweezil.
telling him lies. Sweet little lies.
you saved it all day, didn't you? And yeah, so are they okay? So is their underground lair in the middle of this network?
Yes.
What the hell, man?
It's in the playing field.
Hiding
the running
in
man
plain
playing
sight.
field.
Right.
Yep, it's
well, I mean,
great.
they have their lair there. The fucking uplink is over there.
Yep.
Most of the consequential things in the world are in this.
It's a convenient place.
Yeah.
To post
Well,
up,
no one
right?
else is going in there, so.
It's like the links are close by.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Great. Amber shares the uplink code and is like, hey, you know what? I also have this footage of, you know.
From her vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I.
It's none of your business.
Sorry.
Yeah, when I was snooping around, I found the original footage, which. Why would this
Could have
come
been in her butthole, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, you could have hit her butthole, yeah.
So, beyond where it could have been in her body, why the hell did this company not only, one, keep the footage, but then make physical copies
Well,
of the...
where did they get it from? Like, this presumably is kind of like maybe classified military
It's all
footage.
produced as well.
Got it very easily.
Yeah.
Too.
It's
just
It
clips
was in
from
like a
this
file
movie.
cabinet labeled under unedited footage of this guy's murder frame.
have you not been to Room 6?
I think
You go to
they
Room
got it-
6, you get any file you want.
I think they got it from Paramount because
I see.
it was just actual filmed.
yeah.
It was the beginning of the movie.
It was the beginning. So they used like the machine from Spaceballs.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has that conveniently, and she's like, you should show this.
Yeah.
Which...
From her vagina.
isn't there a dialogue about that?
There
A little
is.
bit.
Where
Yeah.
did you hide that? It's none of your
None of your
business.
business.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only like 2 places.
So then the People's Network decides we're going to
Behind
storm into the building as well. We're going to take over the TV network,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to get Killian and everything. And they start uploading everything. They show this uncensored Killian footage where he's saying just like snotty things to people.
So this is where it's not realistic for 2017. Because if you uploaded like true unedited video of leaders in 2017, like say you did like for instance, Donald Trump saying something shitty,
Right.
unedited, nobody would give a shit. They'd just
Yeah.
be
It's
like,
kind of expected.
yeah, they'd be like, yeah, fine, I still love him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the only part of this movie that's unrealistic.
We get a nice "It's showtime" from Richards while the footage is playing.
Mm-hmm.
We also get Dynamo back in the mix, which is kind of
Oh,
bizarre.
it's gross. He's got garters.
But
yeah,
tidy
he's got
whities
like his
and
tidy
garters.
whities and his garter.
Yeah,
I
but-
don't like it.
Yeah, and before we're fully with him, just note, if we did not say, the original helicopter footage is shown during this run. That's what we were noting at the very
I
beginning
mean,
of
not
this episode.
footage so much as just
The clip that you
edited
saw.
the beginning of the movie.
You,
which
you
is
the
reshown.
audience member, get to see exactly the same thing again in the same perspective.
Everyone knows military helicopters have Cineflex cameras
Yeah.
Right?
mounted directly in front of the pilot
Yeah. And on the outside.
and from the
of it.
pilot's
And their
point of
forehead,
view.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dynamo's back now, and he's walking around doing weird stuff. And then he encounters Amber in all this, and there's a tussle that starts kind of like proceeding throughout.
Yeah.
All while the network army is doing some gunning and running.
It gets real rapey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
for a
with,
second.
with
Yes.
Dynamo.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
He
I-
definitely seems more the serial killer type stalker.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like
It's
the brains, the brawn over brains.
Yeah, the movie takes a little bit of a turn right there, which is like a little bit beyond what it was going for. Like, it's
Yeah, I totally
for the most
agree.
part, it's like that RoboCop, like it's sort of satire on like America sucks. Yeah, we get it.
Right.
But then it was just like the one part where he's going to be rapey. It gets kind of mean spirited.
It
Yeah.
really does.
So basically, they're tussling over a gun, and she's on the ground, and she's like, "You're dickless," and he's like, "Dickless," and then is like, "I'll show you," and clearly like moves in for like a rape sequence.
Yeah, and his pants are off all of a
Yeah.
sudden. Like
Yeah.
they cliterally
Yeah.
cut that scene down too. Like,
It's super gross.
was
they
some
wanted
working
it to
for
be more graphic.
Yeah.
100%.
It's super gross, and this should not have been in here. This should definitely just be cut out. But Amber is awesome, and as we all noted, kind of one of the
Yes,
better characters
yep.
of the film, and just kicks him in the balls immediately, and he electrocutes the sprinklers, and then electrocutes himself.
Yeah.
So he gets what he deserves.
I mean, yeah,
He's a
good.
piece of
Fuck
shit.
that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Good
He's a piece of
job.
shit. Yeah, so Richards got has a lot of one-liners. He gives Dawson to Killian another "Hello, cutie pie" right back to him. He's pleading. This is one of my favorite, like no joke, one of my favorite sequences of the entire films. And so Killian and Richards are there, but Killian has a bodyguard, and the bodyguard is standing there. And I just wanted to note, like, my first comment is this guy's so much smaller than the stalkers. I was like, is this going to be a real like fight to the death scene? And he's like, you got a score to settle, or he says something. Oh yeah, he's like, you got to score some steroid. I remember in the beginning of the film, Dawson makes a sarcastic remark to this bodyguard. He's like, go score your steroids or whatever you need to do.
Oh, he's like, you steroids make you deaf too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't kicking Jesse Ventura out of the control room.
Yeah, and so with this, there's about to be a fight with Schwarzenegger and the bodyguard, and they look at each other, and the bodyguard just looks at Schwarzenegger's like, "Nah, I got some steroids I got to score," and just walks off, and kind of like gives him like the eye nod, like, "I'm not gonna fight you. This guy's a piece of shit. I have no beef with you. Peace out."
Yeah,
And,
I like that.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger leaves. This happens in the movie. Have all of you seen the first Machete movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's Chris Penn. Chris Penn is on the phone, and he's like, this guy's here. Like, he's going to, like, F up my world. He hands Machete his gun. He's like, I quit, and just walks off. And, like, that's the end of the sequence. And Machete does not kill him and just takes his gun, goes in the house, and kills everyone else. I'm like, baller move. Like I'm out of this. This is crazy. I like that the security guard gets out.
Yeah. The guy's name is Sven, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. So he's like, what? Probably like Danish, Norwegian,
Yeah.
right? The diplomatic, right? Peace between America and,
Yeah, and everything,
and Norway, right?
everything
Like,
they use
oh,
in
yeah,
this
Norway's
movie is
cool.
from outside the U.S.
Right.
So he's got like that Maserati, all the technology is
uh-huh.
foreign. It's because the U.S. is like collapsed.
Right.
And then they've got this like bodyguard guy who's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, we get a lot of pleading from Killian. Please, no, we could work out a deal, blah, 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 and whatever. He just shoots him down that pipe. And instead of going down the pipe normally, he somehow is launched extra into a billboard and then explodes.
Well, the net's gone when he comes out.
oh, that makes a lot more sense.
And it's the real payoff for that one mention of the cola slogan at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Cadre Cola.
That hit
Whoa.
the spot.
That hit the spot.
We'll get two. We'll get one more for the Cadre Cola. And we are just cheered on by everyone. Everyone in the audience is happy. Everyone in City Town is happy. We are treated with absolutely the worst song on earth. I looked it up. Restless Heart by John Parr. I just wrote
I liked all the music in this movie.
It's so
I just wrote yikes next to it.
I thought it was amazing.
that song has a line in it, right, that I caught that was like "No pain, no gain," right,
Yeah.
which is like Arnold's like.
This is not a
tagline,
game.
right?
No
That's like
pain,
his
no gain.
bodybuilding movie.
Yeah. Chris, I don't mind the music in this movie outside of this song.
Well,
Like,
the main theme is amazing.
yeah, like
It's
you
great.
mean I got the score?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
sounds like this like futuristic video game.
It's
like
so chill. And
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. This song is just it's
It's terrible.
I don't even
but
want to
it's
say
really perfect for the
yeah,
movie.
it's like
was
super
written for the movie. Yeah,
it's
clearly.
super dated, but that's just not the problem. It's just it was never good. It was never anyone thought it was going to be good. But hey, everyone is still seeing the broadcast in Citytown, and now Richards and Amber are making out because they've somehow developed a romance. Running
Right
for their
after
lives.
she almost gets raped, by the way.
Yeah.
She's like, cool, let's make out with this guy.
Right, so super weird. A romance.
Because, there's no such thing as trauma in the 80s.
No.
Yeah.
That is a trauma response, right?
Yeah.
Go make out with somebody else after.
That's right.
You know.
It's a palate cleanser.
Yeah, and then we're pretty much it, and then we see an outro shot of the city and a sign that says "Please stand by." But as noted, and if you look in the credits, there's there's a bunch of commercials that are being advertised. Did anyone listen to the credits?
No.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, before we get to those credits, as always, if you would like to contact us or recommend a movie or anything along those lines, feel free to reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up properly at our webpage, rabbittroopsucks.com, or visit us at Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, I'm trying to look this up really quick. There was somewhere that someone quoted all of these things. I don't know if it's quotes or trivia or something, but at the end, you hear all these commercials, and it's like, this has been brought to you by Cadre Colas. In addition, it has been brought to you by Kelton Flame Throwers and Chainsaws. The only chainsaws to use, Kelton. Like things like that. Like
Nice.
someone has noted all of that. It's at like the very last 30 seconds. And then the very last note is like, if you'd like to be a contestant on The Running Man, reach out to us. And there is like a phone number or an address. And I have to assume when this movie came out, if you called it or something along those lines, like you got something. I assume.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, this movie did have a lot of RoboCop energy.
Yeah.
It really
RoboCop
does.
is obviously like a masterpiece of this sort of what they were trying to do, but I do love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go through it. Our last views. Mario, what do you think? You said Running Man is special for you. What are your last views of Running Man?
So yeah, I would say it's something that was a huge part of my childhood, like I had said, and just I loved all of his movies that came out in that. I mean, that run of movies. I think I like every single. I even like Red Heat. You know what I mean? Like I like all of those movies. And I think it's definitely seemed dated, right, on rewatching it. So I've probably seen it like over 20 times, but I hadn't seen it probably in at least like 10 years. And so it was a little sad to see some of the special effects not hold up, but overall, I think the movie stands up, right? I think it's a good addition to the Arnold catalog, and I enjoyed watching it again.
Yeah, for me, this movie, I also have a little special place. I could pinpoint the first time I ever saw this movie. My brother had a sleepover. He rented a couple of movies, and I was allowed to watch this rated R movie. I think the viewpoint in our household was always like, is there a lot of graphic sex scenes? It's not. It has Arnold Schwarzenegger. Whatever.
Yeah.
A guy gets his dick chainsawed off, but
Yeah.
as long as there's no
You don't
tits.
You don't see
though.
it.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
see
it's
it.
all okay. So I was like,
It's not like Fortress level of dick.
That's the T-shirt. But yeah, that has a special place where I was like, oh my God, I was able to watch this entire film. And I
Yes.
think that weekend I watched it again. Like I watched it the next day. I was like,
Yeah.
we rented it. I'm watching it
That
again.
was the blockbuster philosophy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Watch it at least twice before you return
Right.
it.
Like, I would covet it like a treasure. I mean, I was young and I was, entrusted with a R-rated movie. So yeah, this movie has some cheesy elements. This movie's super rewatchable for me. I could throw this movie on in the background at any point in time. Things have definitely aged poorly, like the rape scenes. They should never have been in there. So it's like extra worse. So I don't want to say it was ever good. It's just extra worse. But yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger is full of amazing one-liners. There are so many awesome cameos. This movie's totally awesome. If Edgar Wright is remaking this film, he's definitely the proper director. I could only imagine the soundtrack being even more amazing.
He'll do a good job.
Yeah, he will.
He will.
I want the soundtrack to be exactly the same.
It better be, yeah.
At least the score. Keep the score
Yeah,
the same. That'd
absolutely.
be awesome.
Yep.
You could replace that song at the end.
Yeah, it's fine.
Mike?
Me? Okay. Okay. No, this movie is amazing. It is peak Arnold for me, to the point where like his one-liners are so good. I feel like in Batman and Robin, he's just making fun of himself in this movie.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Which is great for me. This movie's great start to finish. I love it. I love it so much.
Where you at, Chris?
Yeah, I just think that this is like it's an era of movies that will never happen again.
That's for sure.
It's a mid-budget movie with an extremely charismatic lead in it, and it's weird that he's got a Austrian accent. But you watch it, and like even in the scenes where he doesn't talk, like just his eye acting and his reactions are so like charismatic. He's not even like a really great actor. He's just so watchable.
No, he delivers.
Like whatever he's in, you can watch.
Yes, you would like go out of your way to watch everyone.
And he must just not have had a great handle on choosing projects, because he would just be in these movies. Like this movie's dumb, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Total Recall is stupid, but it's awesome. Like all the movies he was in the 80s were like that. And it's just him. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is like a unique character in sort of American film history that will never happen again. And it's amazing.
I'm going to throw this out. I don't know how all of you feel on this. And this isn't like I hate versus I like one. I like this movie better than Total Recall. Overall.
I think it's better than Total Recall as well. Although
I knew this would be
Total Recall.
Yeah, I knew this would
far,
be a polarizing.
I'm with Mario on this one.
I knew
Total
this would
Recall.
be a polarizing comment. Yeah.
I think they're equal. Although Kurtwood Smith.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not in the one.
No, he's not in.
That's Michael Ironsides.
Yes.
He's in Total Recall.
Yeah.
So yeah, never mind.
Total Recall has a better story.
Well, I mean, we're talking PK Dick versus Steve.
That's right.
So,
That's true.
Of course it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
So I'm going to argue that the reason I said it, I like both films. We could totally do Total Recall. Let's do like the director's cut or something like one day on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this film. That's why I said it's not I hate versus I love one. But the
Total Recall's got the 3 titties.
There's all
there's
there's
the iconic
zero titties in this movie.
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
three.
there's the iconic scene with that. But I feel the back end of the story of Total Recall, the movie, just kind of just like fades into weirdness. Like it's not like really memorable.
It does.
And
I mean, I think it's. You know what? I'm going to take it back.
wow, I'm alone.
I think Total Recall is better.
Yep.
But I do love Running Man. I mean, there may be like in like picking a movie to watch. I think I could be neutral on both of them. Like I could be like equal. They're equally watchable movies. Total Recall definitely has some more interesting ideas than this movie does.
God, it has
Yeah.
the people
I
like
totally agree with
choking
you, yeah.
and like
Yeah.
suffocating.
Yeah, the Mars
when they-
stuff is cool.
Yeah, it's really
and the
cool.
Quado parts
His
are cool.
eyes are like popping out of his
And
head.
the 3 titties
like,
are
it's
cool.
amazing.
And-
This whole podcast, you've been talking about wanting to see someone's head inflate. We get that in Total Recall.
Oh, you're right.
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
But it's not. It's not Kodo's.
It's not Godo, no, but
I just feel Total Recall, the first half is more glorious than the second half. And
is
again,
pretty
I'm not,
awesome, yeah.
and I'm not like the second half is garbage. I'm just like the first half is so awesome, and then the second half is great, but not
ending
so
is-
awesome.
The ending is amazing.
Yes.
To that movie.
so
I'm also fine with that. But the back end. But again, I like both films. I think also, Chris, what you were alluding to is you just like you got some buddies over and you just want to throw it on a Schwarzenegger flick. You're gonna go The Running Man.
I'll
probably.
watch
You don't
Schwarzenegger
have to
do
pay as
anything.
close
Yeah.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like Running Man though because like the aesthetic of it is cool. Like the problem with Total Recall is that it holds up better now. Like you could watch it and it's more of a modern movie. It's not embarrassing really at any point. Like Running Man has got those like low res intros and like the weird CG and just like the 100% synthesized score and stuff. It's just a more like aesthetically pleasing movie to me.
yeah.
I could see that, I guess.
And like the Adidas jumpsuits and like it's
Love the
just
jumpsuits.
so much more of its time than like Total Recall is just it's a better movie, but it maybe is too much better.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
It's like the uncanny valley
Yeah.
of good movies.
I just feel, for The Running Man, any day I could just throw it in. I could be like cooking dinner, paid attention to part of the film.
Absolutely.
Like I wouldn't miss a beat. But then like Total Recall, I would not really want to leave the
You
room.
got to sit down and watch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, We're going to keep the sci-fi theme going. Next week, we have Rollerball, the original Rollerball, 1975, James Caan Rollerball.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah,
Nice.
It's happening. It's happening, everybody. I don't know what's happening. It's all happening. Well, Mario, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. I was really looking forward to doing this, and it's great to be able to be a part of it.
I hope you join us for more. Mario and I always talk about films, so there's tons. And Chris, we hope you join us too. Clearly, you being in person is always awesome, but even if it has to go through Zoom, any idea of a film you would want to do sometime in the future?
Oh shit.
I know.
I know. I know you want to do Peanut Butter Solution.
I do.
I'm into that.
Wow.
I do.
I get a lot of thoughts about that.
We're going to do it.
Okay.
Mike's afraid there's not enough to talk about.
Oh my god.
I'm not afraid of that.
What are you afraid of, Mike?
I don't know.
I could talk a lot about that movie.
I'm afraid of what you're going to talk about.
You should be.
Yeah.
It will be problematic.
Yeah.
I feel we just have to do this movie. I don't know what really any of that means. As always, thanks for listening. Rollerball next week. Happy November. Rabbit Troop sucks.